Please be aware that the comments, views, opinions shared on this podcast are not meant to diagnose a medical problem and/or legal problem. If you do have a medical problem or legal problem, kindly contact a professional.
Welcome to An Apple a Day, a podcast, a resource, a community. Share your experiences and learn from others as we overcome barriers and learn to live a happy, healthy life with a disability. Welcome to the community. Here's your host, Jimmy Apple.
Hey, welcome to another episode of An Apple a Day. I'm your host, Jimmy Apple. How you doing today, my friends? You feeling good? You feeling strong? You feeling better than you did yesterday? Excellent. You can't ask for better than that. As long as you're feeling better than you did yesterday, you're in good shape. Before we get started here, I want to remind you that An Apple a Day is brought to you by www.famousapple.com. Famousapple.com is the home site for this podcast, so if you get a minute, go over there, check it out. And if you want to send me an email, you can do so by sending it to jimmy@famousapple.com. That's jimmy@famousapple.com. Now, something else I want to let you in on. We're accepting stories now. We're at the beginning of fall. This is the beginning of the holiday season. So we're looking for people to submit stories of 1,500 words or less for Halloween. Your best ghost stories that you can share. They have to be original, okay? Everyone that sends in a story will be posted on the website, and the best ones will be read right here on the podcast. So get to work, get your pencil sharpened, and start putting those stories out. Send them to admin@famousapple.com. That's ADMIN @famousapple.com. Now, they should be in the body of an email. Don't send attachments, but send them in the body of an email. I'm looking forward to start reading these stories. If you remember, we did this last year, and we got a nice turnout. We got a nice amount of stories sent in, and I enjoyed every last one of them. I love ghost stories. I love horror stories. Halloween, to me, is one of the better holidays. Now, I know some people don't like it, but I love Halloween. I love to be scared, and I love to scare people. So do your best. Send them in. Start sending them in. We'll start posting them to the website right away. And we'll even start reading them on the podcast right away for the whole month of October. So start sending them in. I'm really looking forward to it. So we're looking at summer in the rearview mirror. This is fall. The leaves are changing. The weather's getting a little bit cooler. Won't be long before we start seeing snowflakes and sub-zero weather, and everyone will be bitching about how cold it is, and they'll be saying they can't wait for summer to come back again. And it was only a couple of weeks ago I was talking to people, and they were saying they can't wait for the cool weather to come. We're never happy. I don't know about everybody else, but I think my favorite seasons of the year are spring and fall. I don't like summer all that much because it gets too hot, and I definitely don't like winter. Winter is not a friend to a person with one leg, especially those icy stairways and roads and what have you. But I think my two favorite seasons are spring and fall. But for some people, fall, the beginning of fall, can be very, very, very depressing. And I notice that amongst my friends who have disabilities. It becomes a dark time for them. That's what we're going to discuss on today's podcast. So sit back and let's get started here. Yeah, so it's fall. The days are getting shorter, nights are getting longer, the weather's getting cooler, the kids are back in school, the beaches are closed, the pools are closed, leaves are changing colors, they're falling. It's time to start raking leaves. Trees are starting to get bare. Some people look at this and say, wow, that's beautiful. There's people that go crazy in the fall. They go out to see the fall foliage. But yet for others, this is a very depressing time. And I noticed that a lot. I noticed it a lot for myself in the very beginning when I first became disabled. When you're disabled, fall can be a very depressing time of year. And tons of things go through your mind why it's depressing. I think one thing is that we realize when the fall comes, we lose a little bit of our freedom. Where in the summertime, even though it's not going far, we can leave the house, go outside and sit in the front yard or in the backyard, get some fresh air into our lungs. We can sit out there all day if it's not that hot. But come the fall, you have limited time outside because it does get a little bit cooler, and for some people, the cooler weather annoys their disability. And you have limited daylight. It's different. And for a non-disabled person, it might be hard to realize what I'm saying or understand what I'm saying. But you do. You lose a little bit of freedom. That little bit of freedom that you have where you can just get up and move outside instead of being stuck inside during the day. That's a big move for us, especially in the beginning when you first get hurt in your first home. That's a big thing. The other thing is that we lose some of our socialization, where when we're outside, we see other people. We may not be out there socializing and hanging out on the street corner and what have you, but you see other people, you say hello, you wave, instead of being inside. And something else to consider. In our society, everything is pushed and pushed and pushed. This is the beginning of fall, okay? Summer just ended. We just got finished putting covers on pools. We just got finished folding our bathing suits, and already they're pushing Christmas. It's like they skipped over Halloween and they skipped over Thanksgiving, and they're already pushing Christmas. You go into some of these department stores, and they've already got Christmas trees on display. That's unbelievable. I've seen one store that had the inflatable Santa Clauses out already. We're in the end of September right now. They've got Christmas albums out on display, Christmas decorations out on display. That, to a person on a fixed income, whether they're disabled or a senior citizen, that's very depressing. And I know you'll say, well, Christmas isn't all about the money. Well, you know what? When you're on a fixed income, trying to get through day by day and have the holidays shoved down your throat and it's so commercialized, it becomes depressing, very depressing. How many times do you hear people get so depressed during Christmas? Well, now they're pushing Christmas in August, and you wonder why more and more people are getting depressed. And here's a little thing. For a person with a disability and they're in pain, depression only amplifies the pain. That's right. There's a correlation between depression and pain. So by now you're probably saying, well, this sounds really, 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 really bad. So is there anything that could be done about it? Well, there is. You can go talk to a psychologist or a psychiatrist or a therapist. You can get put on medication, but there's things that you can do on your own to combat it. And we're going to try and discuss some of the things that you can do on your own. Instead of taking more pills and more medication, just some things you can do on your own to kind of lift yourself up out of the funk. Now, there's no way, I don't care who you are, I don't care what you've been through, there's no way anyone can turn around and tell you, oh, just pick yourself up and walk it off. It doesn't work like that. Depression doesn't work like that. And depression's a very real thing, even if it's a temporary deal, like because of the change of season. But depression is a very real thing. It is an illness, and it's something that should be treated. You should bring it up to your doctor, but there are a couple of things that you can try on your own and still bring it up to your doctor. You know, you don't have to be a prisoner of depression either just because the season's changed, and you can help yourself work through it. So let's take a look at some of them. One of the most important things you can do is getting the proper rest. Now, that doesn't mean sleep all day. What that means is go to bed at a proper time and wake up at a proper time. I'm not saying go to bed at 10 o'clock at night, wake up at 4 in the morning, but if you're going to go to bed at 11 o'clock, go to bed at 11 o'clock at night and wake up at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. And you're probably saying, well, why should I get up at 8 o'clock? Where am I going? Just have a regimen, whether you go to bed at 12 o'clock and wake up at 9, but just have a regimen that you stick to. Don't go to bed at 10 o'clock and sleep till 11:30, 12 o'clock the next morning. You know, don't stay in bed all day. Don't stay up all night watching TV and whatever. Keep a regimen. Keep your life on track. That's very important. Another thing is Get up in the morning and get dressed. Don't stay in your pajamas all day. Don't just live in pajamas. Get up, get washed, get dressed. Personal hygiene is very important, but don't just give up on yourself. Get up, get washed, get dressed, brush your teeth, comb your hair, shave, do whatever you got to do. But just make that a regular ritual every morning. The same thing, you get up in the morning, you get dressed, eat breakfast. Very important. They say breakfast is the most important meal of the day. They're absolutely right. That's how you start your day off. Eat breakfast. Eat breakfast, eat lunch, eat dinner. Don't sit down in front of the TV and snack all day into the night and then go to bed. The only thing that's going to do is make you fat and end up giving you diabetes. Move around some. Get up, move around. Go out on the front porch. Go out on the back deck. Go out in front of the house. Maybe if you can, if you're able to, walk up and down the driveway. If not, get some fresh air. Open the windows in the house until it gets too cold out. Get the fresh air coming into the house. Don't be so quick to put the heat on yet. I mean, when it gets cold, noticeably cold, then naturally you have to put the heat on. But don't be so quick to put the heat on, because putting the heat on and being stuck in the house only slows you down. It just makes you blah. So let the fresh air come into the house. Let it come in, and don't try to stifle yourself, if that makes sense. So you got it right now. You got to go to bed on time, get up on time, get dressed, eat breakfast, lunch, eat dinner, not pick and chew all day on potato chips and junk. And don't just sit. Don't become a statue in front of a TV, staring at a TV box all day. Give yourself a couple of hobbies. Do something. Like right now, we have this story thing for the podcast and for the website. Start writing some stories. The most creative people I know are the people that are on disability. They have time to think, so think of a story. Write it down. Type it into your computer. Or do it on your phone, on your email. But be creative. Don't just set yourself down in front of a TV and watch TV for 18 hours a day. And for what it's worth, please move some. Even if you're in a wheelchair, you can use your arms, move around the apartment, the house, whatever. Just keep the blood flowing. Do some exercises, whatever you can do. Because if you just sit and get stagnant, you're going to get more problems. Your disabilities are going to get worse. You'll probably end up adding heart disease and diabetes and what have you. These are things you don't need. And you'll see, the more you move around, the more fresh air coming in, the more you're up on a schedule, the better you're going to feel about yourself. And I know you're probably sitting there going, yeah, okay, I've heard this before, and it's all corny. But you know what? If you haven't tried it before, you don't know. So don't knock it until you try it. And see, I will guarantee you that you'll feel better. If you're depressed about the change of season, or anything for that matter, if you start giving yourself a regimen again, like you had before you became disabled, where you get up in the morning and you're actually greeting a new day, instead of waking up in the morning, looking out with one eye and rolling over and going back to sleep, getting up 3-4 hours later, dragging yourself into the bathroom, coming back out, flopping back into bed, and staying in bed for 5 more hours. That's no way to live. That's not living. That's just barely surviving. You have a disability, but you still have to live. Now, also, along that point, you do have a disability, and you do have to take it easy. So I'm not saying go out and fix cars or paint houses or something like that, but I'm just saying move to the best of your ability. You know your limitations, okay? Don't put more roadblocks in front of yourself. Work with what you have, but move as much as you can. And like I said, you're going to see that you feel better. And at the same time, you're feeling depressed. Make sure, by all means, please make sure you let your doctor know about this. And if it does mean more medication, then so be it. But at least you're being a little bit proactive before that happens. So take care of yourself. Don't let it get you down. You've got through it last year, you're going to get through it this year, you're going to get through it next year. So It's a change of season. That's all it is. But just keep your regimen, keep your schedule that you have. Don't give up. Just because the outside changes, maybe, don't give up, please. All right? Listen, thanks a lot for stopping by today. And I want you to feel better. And if you want, you can write me. Write me at jimmy@famousapple.com. You're not alone. You have a computer. Socialize on the computer if things get that bad. There's chat rooms, there's Facebook, there's Twitter, there's all of that. Get involved on the computer. Just get yourself involved. Don't shut yourself out. That's what I'm trying to get at with all of this. Don't shut yourself out, okay? And listen, remember this. Things can always be worse. No matter what, there's someone somewhere that wishes they were in your position right now. So things can always be worse, my friend. Okay? Thanks again for stopping by. Have a great weekend, and I will talk to you next week. You've been listening to An Apple a Day, and my name is Jimmy Apple.
Thanks for listening to An Apple a Day with Jimmy Apple, your gateway to a happy, healthy life. Join our community at www.famousapple.com. See you next time.